In today's tutorial, we'll knit the Trinity Stitch. It's also called the raspberry or blackberry stitch. Welcome back to another Yarnspirations tutorial. I'm your host, Kristen Mangus of GoodKnitKisses. Let's get started. In today's tutorial, you'll need a medium number 4 or worsted weight yarn. We're using Caron 1 Pound in color Sunflower. In today's tutorial, we'll knit the Trinity Stitch, also called the raspberry stitch. To get your free Pebble Pop Knit Pillow pattern, click on the link below to print it or download it today. This pattern uses the Trinity Stitch. It's also called the raspberry stitch. Normally the stitch is a multiple of 4. You'll notice that there's 82 stitches. It's actually a multiple of 4 plus 2. The way that Yarnspirations is doing this pattern, you're going to have a knit stitch at the beginning and the end on the patterning rows. This is a 4-row repeat, and we're going to work that together. I'm going to make a small sample. We're going to work 14 stitches. I'll show you a very easy quick cast on because it doesn't show if you need to do a long tail or not. So we're going to do the backwards loop or the thumb cast on. It's really fast. So let's get started on this right now. And it needs a slip knot. Make it however you're comfortable making your slip knot and put that right on your needle here. And we're going to start by pulling our yarn out this way. Put our thumb down, flip it, and then scoop it up onto the needle. Make sure that's nice and loose, not too loose to where it falls off. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to put our thumb down, flip it, and pop it right on there. We're going to make 14 for my, this is for my small sample, but you'll do 82 for the entire pillow. And if you want to make a different number, you want a multiple of 4 for your main number and then add 2, and you'll be able to get that stitch pattern just right. I'm going to start row 1. I'm going to make sure when we have circular needles to make sure that your yarn is out in front and not trapped inside. The first row is all purl stitches. So if you don't know how to do the purl, we'll do the first couple slowly and then we'll speed that on up. So we're going to go through the front leg of this stitch here. Okay. Then we're going to yarn over and go around that tip of that needle, and you're just going to be pushing that yarn on through over here. Now for a slower tutorial, you can see the links down below in the video down here. Click the links, click the open the description, and find the link for a slower tutorial on the purl stitch. Okay, we're going to go through this leg again, yarn over, and push that on through. Okay, we're going to let that fall off and continue. Now it's going to look like you have a lot of extra yarn at the bottom here with this backwards loop. I promise with this stitch, it's going to draw up and it's going to be totally fine when you go and do your seaming. So there's not going to be this extra loose cast on. Now this cast on can be a little loose if you're using it for other purposes, but it works really well for this particular project here. Okay, so we're just going to continue on until we get to the end of our row in the purl stitch. Pause your video and meet me back in a minute when you're ready. Row 2 is knit 1. So if you don't know the knit stitch, we're going to go into that front leg between the first and the second stitch. Going to yarn over, and we're going to pull out a loop to the front side and then let that one drop off. Okay, so you've got your new stitch over here. Now we're going to work a knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 into the same stitch. It's also called an increase 1 to 3. So we're going to knit into this first stitch here. And without letting it drop off our needle, we're going to tilt it forward, put our yarn to the front, just like we will for a purl stitch. I like to hold on to this working yarn here and dip this needle and pick up that front leg, just like a purl stitch. Go ahead and work a purl and push it to the back. Don't let it fall off just yet. Go ahead and let your yarn slip back between these two needles. Go ahead and put your finger on this yarn again to hold that loop on, and go in through that leg between the first and the second stitch, just like you're knitting again. Yarn over and pull through one more time. You're going to see that you have 1, 2, 3 stitches, and now you can let this one fall off. So I've got 3 on here and that one original. Now we're going to purl 3 together. Put the yarn to the front again. This is for purling. And we're going to pick up 1, 2, 3 stitches. Okay. Then yarn over as to purl and push that one back. So we're going from we're going from 3 stitches down to 1, and let that drop off. So it's going to put a grouping like that. We're going to repeat that process. We're going to increase from 1 to 3, and then we're going to decrease from 3 down to 1. So we've got knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 into the same stitch, and then we have purl 3 together. So here we go. Do that one more time slow. Knit 1, pull it out, yarn front, purl that same stitch, push that to the back, put the yarn to the back, hold that on there, knit that stitch, yarn over, pull it through, and let that drop off. Okay, yarn front again. We're going to pick up these stitches, 1, 2, 3, purl, push that to the back, let it drop off. You've just done 2 repeats of that stitch pattern. Go to the back, they're going to yarn over, do the knit stitch, pull it forward as to purl, put that in there, purl it, push it to the back, put our yarn to the back again between these 2 stitches here. That's all I'm doing. And then we're going to hold on to this, knit that stitch, push it on through, and let the old one drop off, and you've got the 3. Then we're going to put our yarn front again and purl. So we're just continuing that process. We got all 3 of these together and purl together. All right, and then let that drop off. If you see, you've got a series of 1, 2, 3, and then a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So these are our stitch patterns, and then this is a knit 1 at the front and a knit 1 at the back at the end of this row. So we're going to put a yarn to the back again, knit that stitch, and you have just done a row 2. I'm going to turn that around and pause your video and come back when you're ready if you're doing a larger sample. And now we're ready for row 3, which is a purl. We're going to go ahead and put our stitch in, put our needle in here, and we're just going to purl across. All these same stitches stay where they are. There is no increasing or decreasing on this row. So the right side of your fabric is going to have all these raised bumps for the Trinity. So if you would like to be able to know what is the right side, I'm going to stop right here and show you what I do with my stitch marker. Okay, I've got my stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and just put it in the front of the stitch here. And that tells me that this is my right side. And whenever you see this green here, or your stitch marker color, you'll know that that side is to purl. You're going to continue going until you're to the end of your row. Pause your video and I'll meet you back up when you're ready for the last row repeat, which is row 4. Okay, so we're on the 4th row. Just as I was talking about earlier, on the 2nd row, that first stitch is always going to be knit. Now, I want you to examine your work. This is what you're going to do to ensure that you're not on the wrong thing, because after a while, you're going to memorize this pattern. It's very simple, but it's easy to get tripped up if you don't pay attention to this first set here. So when you come to this set here, you see these 3 stitches here. When you pull it back, you can see that there was that little gap. If I come down here, you can see that there's these 3 stitches that are pushing together here, and then I've just got 1. So it's like a set of 3 and then 1. So when you see these 3 together that are all spread out, we want to squish them together with the purl 3 together. So we're going to go yarn front. So that first, the stitch after that first one is purl, P3 tog, which is purl 3 together. Okay, now I'm going to put my yarn to the back. And now I want to increase this 1 stitch from 1 to 3. And you can tell because it's the one where they were all purled together before. So we're going to knit this stitch, put our yarn to the front, purl the stitch, put our yarn to the back, knit the stitch, and then let it fall off. And then I've got the 3 again. So it just alternates. Put the yarn front, purl 3 together, okay, yarn to the back, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, Okay, and then purl 3 together. Okay, yarn to the back, and you've got this last one here. This again has the 3 together here, so we're going to make this an increase. So we knit, purl, and knit. Finish it off with the last knit stitch. Okay, and then pause your video and come back. Okay, so you have done all 4 of your repeats, your 4-row repeats. You've got another purl row to do because you're back on your right side with your stitch marker, and you can see how they look like little miniature baubles or raspberries. This Trinity Stitch is what they call it, and they're offset. Do you see these little bubbles here? And so your pattern is going to continue to have these little bubbles. Now, if you don't do the knit at the beginning and the end, if you make your pattern without that, then you will have an outward bubble here. So when you go to sew up your pillow, it won't sew together as easily as I'll be showing it. But you can make this in a repeat of 4 plus 2 if you want to change the size. Okay, so just continue on your pattern. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your Pebble Pop Knit Pillow from Yarnspirations.com. On behalf of Yarnspirations and Good Knit Kisses, I'm Kristen Mangus. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.